Hey guys, I'm doing an album review today. This is for March to Victory, the new black metal project by one of the members of the two-person black metal band Vadok. And if Metal Arca is going to be trusted, just because I checked it before making this, the person behind this is only 14 years of age, which to me personally is very impressive for recording and releasing a studio album, even recording and releasing your own music, because that takes a lot. As you can hear, we have the album playing in the background, and what really stood out to me wasn't the raw black metal aspects, or even some of the catchy riffs that come through, especially on the final track. It was the two instrumentals, which I believe are quite beautiful in nature. They're instrumentals, but they aren't like just a guitar or a black metal instrumental with any vocals, not even like a dungeon synth that you'd hear from a Burzum-like band. These are very quiet, they're very simple, they are almost classical in a way, but nothing orchestral. Very beautiful tracks. They are The Dark Forest, The Dark Blue Forest, and Whispers from Ragnarok, which one of them is the second track on side A, and I believe the second one is the first thing you hear on side B. The final track, as I said, Luciferian Lights, has in my opinion, one of the catchiest riffs on the album, and it's definitely the riff that will stick with you. Only thing I wish is that the riff came back once more, but it's only played in the beginning, then it goes into standard tremolo picking. And that is one of the problems I do have with the album, that when you listen to it, guitar riffs may come off very standard, very predictable, moving up and down with, one finger tremolo picking. But I do think you should give the album a listen to hear for those standout catchy riffs, or even just to hear the beautiful instrumentals. I've listened to this album 5 times this week just for some of those instrumentals. Something I liked and also disliked about the first track was it uses a clip from a speech to be somewhat of an interlude into the final blast of the track. Now, my dislike about it is that while the interlude is put in very tastefully, the second part doesn't hold much weight to me. It feels like they want to hit you with one last blast of hate, if you know what I mean, for the final part of the track. But instead, while the vocals seem to be really trying to be there, the guitar it's just not there. As I said, the second track on the album and the first track on the second side of the album are both purely instrumental. One is playing in the background right now. They're very low, very quiet, but very somber and very beautiful. And I don't think this takes away at all from the project. Well, it may be a bit of a tonal shift from the first track. I think it does fit somewhere. I don't know where I wish they would have been placed, because I think it's hard to place it somewhere in the first half, because if you place it at the end of side A, you go right into side B, where the first track is a instrumental. I think it would have been better if side A ended an instrumental track and side B as well exits with an instrumental track. This project, or at least this album of the project, reminds me a lot of some albums from the early Eastern European scene, mainly some of the untitled or instrumental tracks from Branacult. While the heavy black metal sound may be different, the clash of somber and beautiful tracks with just raw and lo-fi black metal really clashes well together in this style, as I said, with Branacult. So if you liked some of the, I think, later albums by Branacult, I would give this a listen at least once. One drawback I have with the album and the track listing is the inclusion of an unreleased demo. Due to the quality of the demo and the fact that it sounds to me like multiple songs put together, it really feels off in this album and does take away somewhat from the album entirely. Being one of the second to last tracks, it feels like it was just put in there as a time filler, and it does kind of, irk me while listening to the album. I think it would have been better to release that first as like a small teaser before releasing this album. I mean, it's the guy's choice if it's in there, but to me it is a real drawback just being stuck in there. It doesn't really make sense to have it in there, and it takes away from the album for me. A storm has started outside. I'm not sure if you can hear the thunder, so. Anyway, on to the final track of the album, Luciferian Lights. I've mentioned previously as having one of the catchiest riffs for me personally. It gives me a very, technical feel with how it's played out. Again, I just wish it came back at least once in the track, maybe just a reminder playing at the end but it doesn't, it's not a drawback, it's just something for me personally, but a very catchy riff to finish off the album. The rest of the song is very tremolo pick style, and you know, the kind of classic black metal, but that intro with that riff, it really it got me back in the album. It gets you back in the album after the unreleased demo. I'm really glad they put that track in instead of just ending with the unreleased demo, because I believe if they ended with that, it just really would have, you know, crashed and burned the album for me. But yeah, Luciferian Lights is a great finishing track. I think this project really shows a lot of growth from the artist from their previous work with Vdoc. I'll be honest, I wasn't much of a fan of Vdoc purely because of the vocals. Vocals are what do it for me with black metal, and when they aren't good, for me personally, it's just not for me. But this shows a lot of growth with how, especially for me, how the vocals are done, how the riffing is done, how it's mixed. It is, and for the person's age, this is phenomenal to me. But purely musically, would I recommend it? Yes, I think at least once you should go listen to this. And like I said, if you're a fan of Branicult or early bands from Blazebirth Hall, or you know, the early Eastern European black metal scene, I would give this a listen, because I think the instrumental clashing with the raw black metal sound, you'll be a big fan of. Or if you just like really, really somber, you know, long instrumental tracks, I would give it a listen. Listen to the Dark Blue Forests and the Whispers of Ragnarok, I believe it was. They are great instrumental tracks. They're what do it for me on the album. In the end, I'm gonna give this album a good 80%. While the unreleased demo and some of the repetitiveness of tracks do get me a bit, and I think will take away from you and take away from the album, I think it is still a great starter album, and it is a phenomenal album for the age of the person. I will give it a big ol' B for black metal on the grading scale. You can put it on your black metal report card, and yeah, 80%. I would definitely give this album a listen at least once. I believe the artist has a Bandcamp where you can get the album on vinyl. I don't think on CD, but yeah.
Hey, it's me from the future. So, as of recording this, the Bandcamp where you could get the album physically has been taken down. I believe on the artist's Instagram, if you still really want a physical copy, you can pick one up by DMing them. I'll link that too. But yeah, this is just a little editor's note. The Bandcamp has been taken down, so the only link in the description will probably be to the YouTube channel where you can give the album a listen, which I would recommend.
Give it a listen once. If you like it, I'll obviously gonna link what's playing in the background, which is the album. I'm gonna link the YouTube channel, and I will link the Bandcamp. Other than that, this has kind of been a rambly review, but that's what you get on my channel. This has been a review of March to Victory by one of the members of Vdoc. I'm sorry I couldn't get your name on Metal Archives, and I sure as shit couldn't pronounce it. But yeah, this has been the review you've got. Again, B, 80%. Check out the album. See ya.